Hello and welcome to this 2026 edition of the Team Captain's Briefing for World Photographic Cup. My name is Kylie Lyons. I am the CEO of the World Photographic Cup, and I'd like to welcome you all to watching this briefing. If I could introduce the people who are on this video for you. We have Don McGregor, who is the competition chair of the World Photographic Cup. We have Joran Brandt, who is our IT chair of World Photographic Cup. And last but certainly not least, we have Shell Post, who is the designer and IT guru, who has actually designed this software that we use. And we have a few new interesting additions to the software that we will go through, which are very important to make sure that you get the most out of the competition for your team. So what we're going to do, we have an agenda. If I ask Joran to share his screen, we will show you the 9 points that we will go through, and hopefully it's not too taxing for you to get to the end of this video. So if we pass over now, I'll pass to Joran, who will show you guys the interface.
Yeah, and you go to this screen first to log in with the team username and the password sent for you. Should you happen to have forgotten your password, you can click on this one, enter your team email or username, and request a new password, which will be sent to you. If you have any questions of the process of logging in, etc., we have a nice fake or FAQ here where you can read about different situations. So please use that. And if there is any problems beyond this, do not hesitate to contact us. Once you are logged in, it's gonna look like this without images because you haven't submitted any images for this edition yet. You would be able to see what you did last year if you were a part of the competition last year. But we would like you to go through the parts out here, which is make sure that you have updated your team captain details. If you're new, if you are team captain again, make sure that we have the correct contact information for you. You need to sign the agreement. I already did here, but it says click to agree. You need to do that to be part of the competition, beside paying and submitting pictures. You can create your team members here, add a new member, fill out the details, and we kindly ask that you use the correct email address and website, Facebook, Instagram of your individual team members so we can easily get in touch with them for them to receive diplomas, certificates, etc. And so we can promote them on our galleries on the website, where we will mention what is written here in website, Facebook, Instagram. So that's actually very important for the benefit of your team members. You can nominate a judge. You can add a new judge. You can activate or inactivate and edit your judge. So if you choose to have a judge, you do this here. Speaking of real images, you go to the upload images, and if you click upload, you get an area here where you can choose, or you can drag the files. They will then show up here as uploaded. They'll be checked that they are within the rules, that is at least 4,000 pixels on the longer sides, and the file being no larger than 50 megabytes in one of these profiles. Then if you uploaded one and you don't want to use it, you can delete it, but you can also submit it, where you then get here, you select the relevant competition, you choose the relevant category and the relevant team member. The system will check that you have no more than 3 images in a category, because that's the rule, and that only 1 image per team member is possible to enter within a certain category. Once they are submitted, I'll just take this test competition. You will see them here per category. You will see the unique ID image number, who made the picture, and category, status of the competition. And then there is a lot of colors here, which you would not see in the beginning, but that is part of our newly designed validation process. We used validation last year too, but in a different way. This year it's been integrated into the software. And I'm going to talk a little more about that later, but the colored parts here is where you see the status in the validation process. Here is a green link. Yeah, payment I should mention first. You go here and you can pay your fee for that year. It's already paid here, 450 euros, to participate in the 2026 edition. If you click on this green area, you get this PDF file, which we are also sending to you. And that is a walkthrough of what you do in this software and some explanation. So if there's something you are unclear about in my talking or afterwards, feel free to go through this, and probably, hopefully, the answer should be in here. There's also this one called WPC logos, rules, categories, descriptions, etc. For download. You click here and you use this password in capital WPCTC, in lowercase download, and you will have access to some download material that you can use for your website or send for your team members, etc., etc. So that's the team captain's interface. It says in the agenda that I should also talk to you about the website and judges recognition, so I'll just jump to that. And when you go to the website, it looks like this. By the way, if you click over here, you can also come to the competition site. But on the main page, click competition, and up comes this menu where you have the rules and the categories and the timeline and the teams to enter a new team. Do read them. Don's going to talk more about these and Kylie about the timeline. But it's a good reference point. In galleries here for 2025, we have a list of the judges that was used in 2025 edition. There's going to be one later on for the 26th edition, and thereby we can recognize the judges working very kindly and nicely for us. I think that's so far. And Dawn, it says that you should talk about rules and regulations. You're muted, Dawn. Dawn, you are on mute.
Don, you need to unmute, please.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Yes.
Okay, I apologize. Thanks, Jorn. And rules and regulations are consistent with any kind of competition. And it's very, very important that you actually download the rules and regulations and read through them. Jorn's showing us the screen right now. And up in the right-hand corner, just download there, and you've got a complete copy of it. It explains about eligibility of the teams. It explains about what Jorn said earlier, only 3 images per category, only one entrant per category. But there's a lot of other little detail. And again, sometimes people run into problems because they don't take the time to read the rules, that read the descriptions of things. So I want to encourage you very boldly, rather than listen to me, go on and on about things and, not hear me clearly. Download these and go through them. It doesn't take long, but it'll help you understand the processes. Most importantly, that I can spend a little bit of time on is categories. In the World Photographic Cup, we started with 6 categories 14, 15 years ago. We've expanded that to 10 categories now. And that's to recognize some of the input from many of our team captains in many of the countries to recognize the different genres in photography. The categories are explained again in quite a lot of detail, along with images, such as Jorn is showing us again, sample images of what one would see in a commercial category, an illustration, digital art category, right through nature and wildlife and weddings and so forth. The most important thing I can try and share is that the World Photographic Cup is taking a leadership role globally in recognizing that photography is the first part of and the most important part of what the World Photographic Cup is all about. It is a photographic competition. It's not a computer competition. And to that end, the rules are very clearly defined that you can read through here that there is no third-party images allowed in any of the categories. There's no AI allowed in any categories. And what I mean by AI is using generative fill to go onto the internet and create a unique image that is not something that you have photographed. Every composite image in the World Photographic Cup, all elements must be created by the submitting photographer. I can't stress enough that you must pay attention to that. And to that end as well, we want to strongly encourage you to gather the raw images from your photographs, your photographer entrants, to ensure that the rules have been complied with. For example, if you have an entrant that is a composite image, make sure that before you submit those photographs to World Photographic Cup, that you review them yourself. You have that responsibility to make sure that the rules are being compliant. Make sure that all the elements were created by that photographer, that there's been no use of third-party images, and that's probably one of the key elements of things. And as you read through the rules, you'll also see that there's elements in the rules that define, for example, in the reportage, you can't use any compositing, you can't do any combining of different elements, and even the tools that we normally have available to us in Photoshop and traditional photography, those can be used, but not, using the cloning tool, not using the healing brush or those sorts of things. So again, that's explained pretty clearly, actually quite clearly in the rules. So please, please, please take the time and effort to read them. It's not complicated, it's not difficult, but it will save you a lot of heartache. And the key thing again is in the last couple of years, there's been some judges, or not judges, but captains that have been caught unaware that, and getting a notice from us saying, you have an image that is, in the top realm of images, it could be a top 10 image. We need to validate that image to ensure that there's no third-party images or AI that is being used, that they are compliant with our rules. And those captains have been scrambling, phoning people, emailing people to try and gather those images up. And there's a limited amount of time that we have to try to follow through that process. And very simplest of terms, if you receive that notice that you have image or images, hopefully images, that there's a limited deadline to try and get that data to us for confirmation and validation. And the rules are rules. If we don't get that images by an appropriate time that's listed on those emails that you would get, that image would be disqualified. And that is the last thing in the world that we want to see. So again, I just, with the strongest and friendliest way, I want to say, when you gather your images to be submitted, make sure that you ask your photographers, let me have the raw images or any details in case it becomes a finalist image. Kylie, Jorn, Michelle, anything else you would want to add to my explanation on the categories?
No, I think you've done it very well. And suffice to say that we always refer back to the website, because the website is kept up to date with all the information, as is the competition software. So please just keep looking and reading, or reach out if you do need help.
Yeah, we are always available, through the email. Our emails are available on the website. If you have questions, or we have had the odd team captains say, Don or Jorn, is this the kind of thing you need, or is this image in the right category? And that can sometimes be a little bit of a challenge for some captains, especially if English is not their primary language, is this compliant? Please reach out to us. We'll let you know. And we are friendly and easy to get along with, and we want to be there to help and support you have a good experience with your country's entry. The next thing on the list here for me is the judges' criteria and the scoring rules. This is for the team captains. This is not a critical thing at this point in time. This is very, very critical for the judge that you choose to represent your country. Should you ask a judge to represent your country? We have a detailed explanation about the judging process, how the scoring is done. For example, every image that is submitted will be looked at for two primary criteria or qualities in the judging process, and every image will be scored twice, and then those scores averaged out. We will have a video very much like this and PDFs again for the judge that you submit to represent your country, and we will go through that in some detail in there. The information in the PDF that Jorn is sharing with you right now is really more for you to be aware of. And probably the most critical thing that I can say at this point in time is make sure that your judge is properly qualified. You don't just turn around to a friend and, hey, do you want to judge something or other? This is a pretty important judging. This is a global international judging that is highly, highly respected. And we want, all the input from the judges to reflect their experience, their knowledge of photography, and their understanding of kind of the international vision that people have and the culture that people have around the world. Every country, every kind of region of the world does see photographs a little differently. That's something that's been a real eye-opener for all of us that have been involved in this since day one, is people around the world, they see photographs very differently. So that's why we actually have two distinctly different criteria. One being the technical, this is a photographic competition. So let's make sure that the technical side of the image creation is the very best conceivable. But we also need to recognize the emotional side of images, which is where the diversity comes into play quite a bit. So, when you choose your judge, make sure that, you choose very carefully that somebody is open-minded, that somebody does understand the process, that does understand the technical and the emotional contribution to an image. And that'll make the whole process a lot easier. When you choose your judge, you're looking really at probably several hours of their time, depending on the total number of entries we have, but it'd be safe to say several hours that they will need to do it. They'll have approximately 2 weeks to do their scoring. They don't have to sit down and do it all at once. They are not interacting with other judges. They are sitting down with judging software, which really is quite an amazing piece of software that was developed by our team group. And they will score their images. They will have a chance to review their scores and change their scores. And then other little details. For example, we go through all those scores and look for any abnormal entries. For example, somebody might want to hit a 96 as a score, but those two numbers, 9 and 6, are one above the others on a keypad, and maybe they just got confused and hit a 69. And when we see big differences in scores, we'll be reaching out to that judge and saying, hey, is this exactly the score you were interested in? It doesn't look to be quite right. So we do try really hard to make sure that the judge isn't being jumped on, but is being made aware of what the process is. And the technical requirements for the entries are all in the PDFs that you can download as well. The rest of my group, is anything you'd like to add to that?
Not really.
I think we can go on to item 8 now. That was very well covered, Don. We'll talk about the validation, because this is where there's a little bit of difference compared to last year. So if you have been a team captain in the past, it has changed slightly. So this is probably the most important part of this video.
And when you log into the team captain software or interface, you will, when we get to validation time, see something like this. In this case, it's marked for all of them. Validation is actually two different processes. We have one that takes place on 1st to 3rd of November, which we call pre-validation. And here we are going through to see if the images appears to be in the right categories and suggest if there is something that needs to be changed. You will get an email when there is something like that, and there will be a mark here where we'll say requested for those images where we have something to say at that point. Replacement of images can take place until November 8th. That is, after November 8th, it is not possible anymore, and that's a hard deadline. Judging starts already on November 3rd, but if there is a change, the judges will be made aware and they will look at these relevant images. By the way, a judge can only score images that is not from their own country, so the software will exclude anything from your own team. Also on November 8th, team members may announce that they are on the team, but no images may be shown. After the judging closes on November 23rd, we are going into the second part of the validation, where we will look at all top 15 images, plus the best of nation image. And that will mean that when you log in and have your up to 30 images on the screen, some of them, or if you're lucky, all of them, will have a requested. And I'll just take requested here. That will be that there is an email sent out looking like this, asking you to log in, to submit raw files and an explanation, and then you can write a reply here. I'm just doing that, and as you see, it says up here that it's requested. So I click submit, and something magic happens. It's going to pending. That means that we will know that there is something new from you, and in our part of the software, we can see there is something from you. You will get an email, we will get an email, and we will look into this. In these up here, here is your username. Here is the image that was originally submitted. And here in files, you can choose and upload the raw files and any other evidence needed. And by that, I mean if it's a composite, and there might be a lot of different files used to build this composite, we want to see all the original parts, including the layered file. So if that's Photoshop, it will be a PSD or a PSB file, the layered version we want to see too. And the explanation of the creation of the image, you can write here and submit. Then we get to look at it. And we can request more, we can approve, or, which we hate, disqualify. But at this stage, if you are getting an image that will be disqualified, there is no replacement. The photographer will still be called a team member, but the image is not in the competition anymore. If you disagree on our decision, you can, within 24 hours, appeal. And a new group of people will be provided with the same information that the first group of people had to make a decision. And they will make their own decision based on that. The rules described how majorities are made to disqualify or change a decision. You can see that in the rules, and we are very strict that this is going to be done in a very fair way, in respect of everybody. And as Don already says, and I'll say again, when you are gathering your submission, before you actually submit it, try to also gather all the raw files and a description of how the image was made. So you have this ready from anywhere in the world, easy to submit through our system. I should mention, by the way, that files up to 100 megabyte can be submitted in the system. Do you have things larger than that? Use WeTransfer, Transfer Now, or something like this, and provide us with the link. We'll download it and look at it. But we do not accept an excuse like, oh, I didn't think so, and I am walking on Antarctica, and there is no real good internet here, so I can't do it. Too bad. I hope you have a good trip there, and I trust it's gonna be a life-changing event for you to be there, but it doesn't change anything. We need it before deadline.
Jorn, if I can interrupt just for 1 second there, one of the things that may help a team captain is to have a co-captain, such that if you are on holidays or you're in hospital or something, that you simply can't fulfill that submission of images, make somebody else on your team has access to that data. He's your co-captain or your supporting captain that can do that on your behalf, should you not be able to do that.
Yeah, and I would suggest that you make sure that you provide us with a email address of your co-captain if you have one, or make sure that the signed email address goes to both you and your co-captain as a shared email address to ensure that everybody gets this. We will do whatever we can to ensure communication is fluent. And I should say, except for this upload of very large files, and I know some composites can be maybe a gigabyte or two, so they can't be received in the software. You give us a link for them. But beside that, all communication must take place within the software. We do not keep track of communications done on Messenger, WhatsApp, SMS, other emails, etc. We consider the information we have when we go in and read here. If it's not here, it doesn't exist. Kjell, do you have something you want to add to this? There's no sound, but I see your head moving, so I take that as a no.
Yes, nothing to add.
So I think the thing I'd like to again point out is that the whole competition is now within one piece of software. Whereas in the past, we have done validation in a different software. It's been Shell who has coded this so it's all in one place. It should be very easy to find. It should be very easy to keep on track with where each of the 30 images are within the competition, and you'll be able to hopefully see all green colors on all of those images so that they're all approved to go through to the judging stage. So thank you, Don, Jorn, and Shell. I think we've come down to item 9 now, which is the end of our little video. Jorn, would I ask you kindly, can you bring up your screen with the timetable? So sorry?
I just want to mention that there is a short timetable here, and if we click there, you get the more detailed timetable on the website.
Perfect. And as I said before, always go to the website. The website is updated and will contain all the information you need. Now, Joran did actually touch on a number of these dates, which are very, very important. As you can see, we are currently in the open stage of the competition. You may start uploading your images, and you can also start to pay for your entry. But please note, you must pay by the 30th of October. If you don't, if the team has not paid, it will be removed from judging. So we will reach out to those who may have started the uploading process just to make sure that your images are indeed included into the competition. So the important dates from here on in is October 17. You should be now asking to have those raw images on hand. And as Joran mentioned, wherever you are in the world, you need to have access to those raw images so they can be uploaded to the validation part of the software if they are required. So we've put October 17 as a date that you could advertise to your team members that they have to have everything ready and finalized, because the competition closes on October 31. We did find last year that there were some team members insisting on their team captain that they had until October 31 to get their entry in. That is not the case. 31 is the hard close of the competition, and that's basically when validation is starting. As Joran mentioned, it's a brief validation this year. This is the difference. We're just looking for obvious issues, images that may look like they are in the wrong category, where we again may reach out and ask for a little bit of clarification and just ensure that, you know, the images entered into the competition do follow all the rules that Don went through briefly. We will start judging on November 3. And if you look at the dates, that does mean that validation is happening at the same time that judging is occurring. But again, Joran mentioned that if an image is, taken out for whatever reason and a new image is replaced, we will advise all the judges that they have images that they still need to judge. So you have until November 8 to replace images if you require. And as of November 8, your team members may be announced, but you cannot show their images just yet because judging is still occurring. November 23 is when the judging is closed, and that's it, friends. November 23, it's from here on in is when we're going to find out all the winning images and who our gold, silver, and bronze medalists and best of nations winners will be. So,
Kylie, if I can interrupt just for a quick second with relation to that, it's important that if your judge has not finished, all his scores for the missing category that's not finished will be deleted. So, make sure that your judge knows, and it will have it in the judging briefing as well, that they've got to finish the complete category. If they only finish half of it and they run out of time, sadly, that will impact, in a negative way, the whole judging of that category. So please ensure your judge knows they've got to finish each of the categories. And that's that.
Good point. Absolutely. Thanks, Don. On November 24 this year, you may promote your team members. We have been asked by team captains over the years that you guys want more time to promote your members and their photographs. So November 24, you can start promoting, start getting the word out there and showing off the wonderful images that your team have. Now, if in that final validation period an image is disqualified for whatever reason, and we hope that that isn't the case, the photographer will still be considered a team member. It's just that their image is not used to make up the final score of the team. So our final major validation of the top 15 images in each category will occur between November 24 and December 7. So that's, like I say, we're going through the top 15, and if one of those images in the top 10 needs to be disqualified, the images move up. So it's a fascinating process, and it does take a little bit of time. As Don mentioned, we are a photographic competition, and we are serious in promoting photography. We are double checking that AI has not been used, that third-party images have not been used, and hence why we need your raw images. If you are requested, if you get that email saying you have to supply the raw images, please have them on hand and get them to us straight away. So
I'm going to interrupt again, please, Kylie, and ask Jorn. Jorn, could you explain a benefit to our captains of how you and Shell have worked in the software, in that they will receive social media files and promotional materials through the process?
Sure. Being part of the sheer fact that you are a team member for your nation in World Photographic Cup is a major achievement in itself, even if you are not so lucky to get the gold medal. I mean, there's one gold medal per category, but there is a lot of good photographers from all nations participating. And we provide different materials for download. We'll send out an email telling you how to download it, but there you can go in as a team member and get a certificate for you participating. You can get a social media slide showing your image and saying that you are participating. This is taking place when the judging is over. And you can start announcing that you are a team member. That's November 8th. Then on November 17 and 19, and for Best of Nation, January 1st, a new set of material is provided for the finalists and the Best of Nation for promoting, for social media and certificates. And on April 20, in April, once the award is done, right after, Kel and I will be online and make sure that everything will be public. And you can go immediately and get your diplomas for gold, silver, bronze, and your finalist place, social media slides to promote. We like you to use, for instance, on social media, the slides that we make, because it's with our logo, proving that you actually did what you did, and thereby we help promote each other. You help promote World Cup, and we for sure help promote you.
Absolutely. And that's why it's so important for the team captain to make sure that the individual photographer's email and social media handles are provided in the software, because that's the way that we can cross-promote each other, which is all very well. So Jorn just touched on our announcements, December 17 and December 19. Again, we're trying something a little bit different just to spread it out. We know that having a 1-hour video to watch with all the announcements of the finalists can be taxing. So we're breaking it up so that we can, have nice short videos and people can start promoting themselves. And it's actually on the 25th of April. It's the Saturday that our presentation will take place. The actual face-to-face meeting is from the 24th to the 26th in Reykjavik, Iceland. And I know that it's a destination that you're going to want to come to visit. So put it in your diary, and hopefully, whether you're a finalist or not, and team captains especially, come over to Iceland and celebrate our winners then. If I might just add a couple of last comments. We've said it throughout this video, the WPC website has all the information that you will need. You can download, once you've logged in as your team captain, you can download all this reference material. The software has the reference material, the PDFs, and it is in English. WPC operates in English. And if English is not your first language, please go and get it translated, have it translated properly. I know that there are translation software on the web. That might be a starting point, but if you do need help, can I suggest that you actually get a proper paid translation so that you can understand? The website does have a couple of options of other languages. Again, it's not probably 100% correct, but it's going to be a fairly decent translation. If you need to, you can translate through the website. Well, thank you very much for getting to the end of this presentation. Don, Joran, Shell, I appreciate your time. I hope we haven't got anything else we've missed. But like we've said, if you need to reach out to us, the contact details are on the website as well. So good luck, team captains. Get those images, start uploading now. The competition software is open, and hopefully you will see the hard work that both Joran and Shell have put into this software to make it an all-in-one judging and validation software. So thank you again, and best of luck to your team in the 2026 competition. Bye for now.
Good luck, everybody. See you in Reykjavik.